Hi there, I'm Lorin, this is George. This is the first episode of our new podcast, which doesn't have a name yet, but we will think about it. The idea of this podcast is to discuss about the products that we're going to review in the near future, or we have a review coming up very soon, so we want to build some hype around those products, around those reviews. So I don't know if you know us. We are both YouTube reviewers. We review audio gear. George has more experience than me in that field, but I'm catching up.
I actually have that a little blog where I write. It's not quite so little now. I'm writing for Audiophile Heaven. It is a huge site for audiophile reviews, and I'm a little more new with the YouTube video. I try to be funny and I try to be dynamic, comedic a little in my videos, so that we bring more joy to this hobby. I think this is a very joyful hobby and people should be enjoying themselves while listening to music, so I'm trying to make my content funny.
Yep. And of course, you already know where I do my videos because it's on this channel. The podcast is on this channel. So with that, I would like to begin. What we have for today is a list of products that we're going to review, and we're going to talk about them. We're going to see what our impressions are. So out of the bat, I'm going to say that we listened to all of these products together. We have some impressions, and we're going to compare those impressions about those products. The first one is the Crosszone CZ1, right? Did I spell that correct?
So those are the headphones, the Crosszone CZ1. They are made in Japan by Crosszone, very interesting company. Those are the headphones. I actually did a little video review. I think we will link it in the description so you can watch my video. Now we should hear Lorin's views on the CZ1.
Well, tell me your view first. A very short description of what you heard when you listened to them.
I think they are quite amazing. They are an alternative to HD800 from Sennheiser, which were a bit bright and a bit too mature for most listeners. I think those are more gentle, more musical. They have a softer treble. They are more smooth in the treble. They have a slightly slower bass, so you are getting you are getting a more musical overall tuning, a slightly more organic, but with the same soundstage size. And you can see here the headphone size is actually bigger than the HD800, so they are quite comfortable being so large. They sit quite well on the ears, as you can see here, very large. Yes, I like them quite a bit. They are on the flagship side of things, so pretty expensive.
What's the price of these?
Those cost $2,000 at least. And
okay. So a little bit more expensive than the HD800.
Yes, they are more expensive than the HD800, and I think for me and for most listeners, I think those would be a better choice than HD800 if you want a gentle and musical sound. So what was your take about them?
So I listened to them on a few occasions, today actually more, and I mostly agree with what George is saying about them, but I do have an issue with the comfort, meaning that they don't stay very well on my head because apparently I have a different head than most people. But other than that, if I press them a little bit on my head, then it makes a perfect seal, so then I can hear the bass, which is a lot better than the HD800. And yeah, overall it sounds like the HD800 without the treble peak, but the bass is so much better, much more textured. Of course it's on the neutral side, so don't expect a boost in the bass, but it's way better in that regard. Yeah, and overall I think it's an enjoyable headphone, very, very comparable with the HD800 in terms of tonality, again with the exception of the peak. Yeah, so that's about it. Oh yeah, and something to mention, it has 3 drivers inside, right?
3 dynamic drivers.
3 dynamic drivers, which is something very interesting.
We should also mention that those are quite hard to drive. You are not going to be driving them out of a smartphone or you are going to have a pretty bad time. Those require at least a good headphone amplifier like the Mytek Brooklyn DAC Plus here. At least, this is at least. we have tested them with even better amplifiers and they sound even better, so they really appreciate a good source if you have one.
How do you feel about them? Are they sensitive to the source, meaning that do you notice a change in sound when you change the source?
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
They tend to be quite sensitive to the source. They prefer a detailed source. They prefer the wide sounding source, and they tend to prefer a slightly warmer source because they are a bit gentle and a bit on the more thin, bright, a bit. They tend to appreciate a bit of warmth and larger soundstage. They sound very good if you have a good sound.
So now I understand why it's a good match with the Brooklyn Duck.
Quite. That one is very wide and very detailed. Also, that one is pretty neutral, doesn't have the warmth that would probably make those warmer, but I tend to enjoy that sound either way. It's very fun to listen to.
Alright, so that's the Crosszone CS1, right?
Yes, the Crosszone CZ1. Very nice details. Magnesium alloy headband. Everything you could desire from a headphone.
You can see that it's quite large, but surprisingly it's not that heavy. It's comfortable on the head.
So we should go to the next headphone we have on our little list.
Which is a favorite of mine.
Quite. Both of us love this headphone.
Yeah.
This is the HiFiMan Sundara. It is on sale at this moment for $350. This is a price I personally was not expected them to drop to, and
it's an absolute bargain. Let's just say it. 350 euros or dollars, whatever it is right now. It's an absolute bargain for these.
Yes, this is the headphone you are probably going to want for that price if you like planar headphones and if you like a more neutral headphone, like no peaks in the bass, no peaks in the treble, pretty linear. I think they are quite lovely. I enjoy them greatly. Their detail is amazing, and so is everything else about them. This is metallic. I have described them a bit. I will let Lorin talk a bit about them.
Sure. So today actually was my first contact with these. So we had a few hours of listening before starting this episode. I had a chance to listen to them, and I was very impressed straight away. I was impressed with these because, well, let's start with the build quality. The build quality is actually very good. It's all metal. This is not plastic, right? It's metal, or is it plastic?
I have no idea, but it feels like it's some sort of metal.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure.
But other than that, everything is very nice. And look at this smoothness here. I mean, it's constructed very well. I don't know how long it will last, but either way, it's very well constructed. And then the sound. The sound is pretty darn amazing for 350 euros. Think about it. This is something you would choose maybe over the Sennheiser HD600 or 650 because it's much better. A little bit more colored than those, but overall a better deal in my opinion. I like them very much. I was comparing them with the surprise we have here with the Empyrean. Of course, it doesn't match the Empyrean, but it's very close in some aspects. There are aspects that are they're not close. Is basically the EQ. They don't EQ so well compared to the Empyrean, but other than that, it's pretty great. And I wouldn't be bothered not EQing them. I mean, they're perfect as they are, and they would be very enjoyable as they are.
Quite. This is one of the important aspects of them. They are enjoyable out of the box. You do not need anything, any kind of tweaks to make them enjoyable. They appreciate a bit of power. Once again, the Mytek Brooklyn Duck Plus is very good with them. I would recommend using at least a Fio Q5. Fio Q5 is amazing for them. It has enough power to drive them. I think this is pretty much this and the Poke XD10 I have reviewed. I think those two are pretty much the least you need to use for them. They appreciate power because they are planar. Not the most hard to drive planar. This is not like this is an nowadays LCD headphone, which are even harder to drive. But yeah, this is $350 US. Leather, metal, planar technology. I mean, it's just so damn amazing what the guys at HiFiMan managed to do for this price.
I mean, let's be honest a bit. They are 500 euros normally, yeah?
Yeah.
For 500 euros, you're like, are they worth 500 euros? If you don't have a chance to listen to them, you're not sure about the purchase. But at 350, it's a no-brainer. Even if you haven't heard them before and you're making the purchase, blindly, you're not going to regret it. They're really enjoyable. And I know we have a friend watching and he was thinking of buying them and he didn't buy them. So he's going to get a regret right there. Yeah, these are very interesting. And yes, I did notice, like George is saying, it is important to power them properly. Even with an amp that has more power than these require, it still helps. So the more power you give it, the more enjoyable they are.
Quite very, very interesting headphone. We surely recommend checking them out. And if you were looking for a...
Do you have any idea how much time this campaign with 250 euros is still going to be on?
I have no idea. At this moment, I do not know whether that is a promotional price at this moment or whether they are going to stay at that price, but...
what would be the logic of that? I mean, if they stay at 350, it means that they're going to introduce a new model, right? Which is probably going to sit around 500 euros.
That is a possibility, but they are pretty new. I mean, they have been released quite recently.
But I mean, that doesn't stop HiFiMan from making a new model.
Yeah, that is true as well. To be honest, we do not have information about that, and we cannot say we know what the plans for the future are for them, so it is fair. We do not say whether there will be a new model or not, but at $350 US, this is a true bargain. This is better than, I don't know. It's hard to say better. We need to quantify better, but they are quite darn amazing.
I mean, what is better? For me at least, what these do is there's slight, let's say, north of neutral in both bass and highs, which is very good because it makes them very musical. But do not imagine that there's any exaggeration. That it's just the perfect amount, and that's why it makes these very enjoyable. Yeah, so these are the HiFiMan Sundaras.
So next on our little review list, we have another one from HiFiMan, amazing company. We have the RE800 Silver. You can hold them if you want. They are so little and so...
Yeah, these are very, very tiny. I mean, just compare it to my nail. It's just so tiny. And because it's so tiny, it's also very comfortable. You don't even feel it in your ear. The only thing you would probably feel is the tip, which depending on the type, you would feel more or less the texture of it, I guess. But other than that, the cable is light but a bit springy, let's say. But it doesn't have detachable cable, which is a bit sad. But other than that, the sound is, let's say, very comparable to the RE2000, which is a very, very big plus for these, because RE2000 sounds amazing. It's one of the best headphones IEMs in the world. So if this can match the RE2000 in some ways, then congratulations, you have very good headphones, the IEMs, let's say.
I think if you are going to purchase the Sennheiser IA800, that is a headphone, I think you should be checking those out and probably consider them as an alternative, because they do so much so well, and I'm very impressed by the job the guys at HiFiMan did. I hope you can take a...
Well, I don't know how much in focus is when you put it there, but okay.
So...
We'll have some cameras here that will probably do some close-ups. We'll say probably that camera can do a close-up, so you can point it there. But we'll see.
Let's see
if we
get a little close-up. I hope so.
Okay. So, can you say something about the general sound signature of them? How do you perceive the sound signature?
This is quite different from the original 800 Gold, which
because
was...
yeah, this is the silver version. Yeah, important to mention.
Very important. This is very different from the gold version. The gold version was quite specific in its signature. The gold version was mainly made for acoustic music, for acoustic guitar, for music that is made to sound acoustic. Those sounds work extremely well with metal, electronic, pop, all kinds of music you expect to be listening to. I mean, I really love their sound, and I really love the way they portray metal music. They are generally slightly V-shaped to balanced, so you get a slightly recessed mid-range and a more forward bass and a more forward treble. They have a good amount of sparkle. The treble isn't hot, isn't sharp, isn't bright. The treble has the right amount of brightness, and the bass has a very good speed. It is quick. They can keep up with technical death metal, if that says something to you. I mean, that is the torture equipment torture music you should be using to test equipment, because it really puts them to the test. I mean, they keep very well with very fast music, and that is quite amazing, because I don't know, as Lorin said, they are so close to the RE800, which are way more expensive.
Yeah, way more expensive. Like that one is 2,000 euros or dollars, and this is 800.
Yes, even less if you find them on a little sale.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean, I am very impressed by their sound, and I'm very impressed by the good job HiFiMan has done. They have the same technology for the driver. They have a single dynamic driver, specially designed by HiFiMan. They designed their own drivers, and I'm quite happy with what they did with the sound.
So I have here the RE2000 with my new custom cable, which you probably saw on some of my posts. But I have them because I want to compare them to I want to compare the RE800 to the RE2000, because we were saying they are very similar, and yes, they are very similar in some ways, but not in all ways. That being, the gold version is, as George was saying, just like the gold version of the RE800, more suited for acoustic music, for classical music, things like that. Although it can handle any kind of genre, the RE2000 is perfect for those genres that I mentioned. And yes, these are not that. I mean, these are for more like mainstream music rather than classical or whatever. Mainly because it has it goes with the bass a little bit more in the mids, but very slightly. And that is making them perfect for these kinds of genres. And yeah, okay, it doesn't have the soundstage of the RE2000. I don't think a lot of IEMs can achieve that, but still very, very enjoyable. I think these are, I listened to some EDM with them, and I really, really enjoy it. And I think these are one of the best, together with the Campfire Atlas, I think. Yes. For EDM at least, you know, I listen to some EDM from time to time, so yeah, I really like them for that. Do you have anything else to say about them?
Yes, I think they are quite different from the Campfire Atlas. The Campfire Atlas is considerably warmer, considerably,
of course,
considerably larger bass and more grand, but those go with a more natural or linear approach, so those are more analytical. Atlas is more organic. Those are on the analytical side of things, so those are good for analyzing details. I like them quite a bit for detail. I think they are an awesome pair of EMs, especially at their price point.
Yeah, but the Atlas are like $1,300, right? And in my review of the Atlas, I said something like, they're simply the best IEMs that I've heard so far for EDM. But if you don't have that kind of cash, well, you might like these, I think. That's my personal opinion, of course. Because I really like the bass. It's a lot more emphasized compared to the RE2000. And being a dynamic driver, of course, you're going to get an amazing bass. You know, I prefer the bass of dynamic drivers when it's really well implemented. Although you're gonna get a surprise about that soon at the end of the show, when I'm gonna tell you what's the best bass that I've heard and what have fun. I wonder what that is. Okay, so that's the RE800.
Quite interesting again. The next ones we have are the iBasso. I think it is spelled that way. I will do this for every
I
single
always say
name.
iBasso. So
iBasso. iBasso, that is how we call it in Romanian. We do not say iBasso because
I don't think they even say it themselves, but who knows?
Yes, I don't know what the right pronunciation is, but iBasso is the way we are going to call them. Those are the ears. I'm trying to get them a little in focus, I think.
Well, more towards that, I guess. Okay.
I hope they are a little in focus.
I'll try to zoom in on them when I do the editing, but yeah.
So, very interesting build. Metallic. Very nice color and finish. Glass finish, reflect.
They're very, very shiny. And it has this blue tint that I don't know. It's
purpley.
Yeah, purpley, exactly. I don't know. It's very special.
Very, very beautiful.
I've never seen this color on an IEM before.
So they also have replaceable filters beneath the tip. You can replace this filter. It is screw-in filter. You get a selection of them in the package.
So what do they do?
They change the tonality of it.
Yeah, of course, but in what ways?
I honestly need a little more time to analyze how they change the tuning. Usually the filters are provide either a smoother or a tighter or a brighter experience. They usually affect the overall tonality balance, but not the detail levels. But as you know, having a slightly brighter sound will usually result in a more detailed sound, because brighter means more detail, at least for most of us. That is the way we are wired to hear, and the way
we just perceive the details better.
Yes, yes, they're easier to notice and easier to listen to our human ears and human minds and humans. We are humans. Now, an interesting thing, they come with they naturally have a 2.5mm jack. I am not sure whether this is in focus on any of the cameras because it is so small, but they come with an adapter from 2.5 balanced jack to 3.5 single-ended jack. So basically they can take advantage of a balanced output like the one you have on your FIO Q5. This has a balanced output with the MA3A amplifier module. So
the standard that comes with the Q5 basically.
Yes, quite. They can work with that, but they also can work with anything that has a 3.5mm single-ended jack. So you are getting the best of both worlds. I love the fact that iBasso thought of this. I think this is an ideal combination of things, because you get a single cable, you get a small adapter, but you get two cables in one.
Yeah, exactly. So this is so here's the thing. If you look at these, you get them. This is a Chinese company, right?
Yes, quite.
Okay, so how much are they?
They're about $200 I think.
Okay, so for $200, when I looked at them first, we had our Notophile meetup a while ago when I first saw them. And I had the chance today to have a closer look at them. And the first thing that struck me is actually the build quality. It's quite amazing. I mean, this cable, I don't know if they make it or not, doesn't matter. But the cable quality is very good. And the fact that they provide an adapter is, as far as I know, unique. I haven't seen any other company doing this, especially at this price. That's important. And that's a huge bonus in my opinion, because of course I have the Q5 and I need... not only that I want to use the balanced output, so that provides this. And if I have a different amplifier, of course with the adapter I solve this issue. But the thing is, the cable is so good. Look at this, it's so high quality. And then when you come to the headphones, also very high quality build. But most importantly for me, at least when I try them, very comfortable. They fit in my ears perfectly, like they were made for my ears, and the isolation is also very good. And what I like also is this huge bore here. I mean, it's quite a wide opening here, which I like in IEMs because that provides a specific sound. Yeah, and I listen to them, and these, like, this is also George's opinion. These do resemble the BGV DM6 quite a lot.
Yes, they are quite close to that one, but I think those are a little more natural. The BGV DM6 was a bit colder, a bit brighter, and had less bass. Now those are warmer, they tend to sound a bit more natural to me. I don't know, I would prefer those with metal, with electronic, with EDM, with pop. I think they are sweet, they are just sweet, they are so damn enjoyable to listen to. I mean, I did my first impressions of them, I simply enjoy them. They are like the $200 you'd spend to enjoy, to have fun with, and I don't know, it is a balanced type of sound, so it doesn't have any huge peaks in the bass or in the treble. They have this very clear mid-range, very good detail, large soundstage. They are not the intimate type. I tend to like a slightly larger soundstage. They have a good amount of instrument separation. You can imagine a very natural sound out of them, but with a bit more sparkle in the end and a bit more bass at the low end. So basically you are going to enjoy those if you like live music, if you like even acoustic music. They sound great for everything. I have tried them with, I don't know if they have any kind of I don't know, like any music style that doesn't work with them. I think they are not exactly made for jazz, because jazz is a slower type of music. So for jazz you would prefer something a bit slower. Those work very well with commercial music, pretty much what...
Yeah. So I haven't listened to all the genres with them, obviously. I didn't have enough time, but maybe I will in the future, who knows. What I can say about them, I mostly agree with what George is saying about them. But for me, for my, I don't know, maybe I'm a bit sensitive to some frequencies. I did find them slightly, ever so slightly, let's say, bright on very specific frequencies. It's not all the range, it's just like one specific frequency that does this, but it's not bothering. It's just you have to know that it's there, and sometimes it can sound like it's emphasized like way too much, but it's actually not bothering in the sense that it's sibilant. So it has, maybe that's how he sees that sparkle in the treble, but I did find that. But other than that, they're pretty amazing, and the bass is very good on these. I mean, if I were to choose between the DM6 and this would be a very difficult decision, because I like the bass on these, but I like the other aspects of the DM6 also, and they are at the same price, right?
Yes, quite. They're direct competitors.
Direct competitors. So this would be a tough choice. If you listen to both of them, it's just a matter of what kind of music you're listening to mostly, and you decide based on that.
Also, they have a fast bass. The bass can keep up with technical death metal, if that is your thing. So fast music works well with them. The original IT01 was a bit slower, a bit warmer, and was quite different from this one. I think they are very different products, and I feel like this is an upgrade to the original if you want a more neutral sound. The original was warmer, was more musical, more warm, just warmer, smoother, slightly more bigger bass. Those are more neutral, so if you enjoy a more neutral sound, those might be the real upgrade you were looking for at pretty much the same price.
Yeah, so I'm also, after listening to these, I'm tempted to buy them, considering that the DM6 is not in stock anywhere. This might be a good option because of that. So yeah, considering that you get this cable, I don't even remember how the DM6 cable was, but I don't think it was bad. I think it was quite good, but I think this beats it, right?
The mere fact that you have this adapter actually puts a lot of weight in this decision, because this adapter means a lot. The DM6 also has a very thick cable. We will have it, I think, when it is more widely available and when the package arrives. So we will also have the DM6, but this cable is very good. The DM6 cable, if I recall correctly, we heard it, and it was not mine or Loren's. It was a friend of ours who bought it in the first batches. The cable was a bit thicker. It was also very good, but as far as I remember, it didn't have this little adapter, which makes the world for
obviously they don't
you
have
if
it.
yeah.
But anyway, why I'm talking about cables? Well, because I'm a big fan of good headphone cables, and I think it's important that companies provide good cables with their headphones. I think that basically says we pay attention to detail, and I think this that's why I'm very impressed when I see these kinds of details being taken care of. Yeah, so these are the iBasso or iBasso, whatever, IT01S, right?
Yes.
Okay, so pretty darn good for 200 euros or dollars. All right.
Next up, we have something a little more unique.
That looks very cool.
Yes, the aesthetics on this one are just insane.
Yeah,
so,
pretty amazing.
This is the Acoustune or Acoustune or such.
Acoustune, yeah.
Acoustune, I think.
But is this also a Chinese company or something else?
I am not quite sure. I think it's from Asia. That much is
okay,
clear.
so Asia.
Now, those have a very long name. They are Acoustune HS1650CU.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that.
We are going to name them the CU because it's simpler. This is the CU. I hope it gets a bit of focus.
CU meaning CU. That's what he's saying.
Yes,
Okay.
from Cooper. It is the I think the
Copper.
Copper. Yes.
Okay.
It should be the name of.
Why is it that? Because of the color?
I'm not quite sure why, but this is their name, and I need to ask them about this. I will be leaving a more in-depth review when I do review them.
So these are up for review. You're gonna review them soon, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I have the review coming for them, and quick spoiler: I enjoy them quite greatly. Now, the design is is just stunning.
Can I show them to the camera? I mean, you're gonna have to see that. This is pretty amazing. I hope that camera catches all the details. But either way, we're gonna have some. I think we're gonna make some photos of these, or some close-up photos to show.
I have a few.
Okay, you have a few. Okay. So at this moment, you're gonna see on the screen some photos of these, some detailed photos. The design is pretty darn amazing. It resembles a speaker back, right? The what's it called? The magnet on behind, doesn't
I think it's quite cool. At first, I thought this would be used to adjust the sound, but it is not. It's just a design element, as far as I know. It could have some acoustic roles. I haven't seen anything in the paperwork that would describe them as the design having any kind of acoustic roles. So I rolled with the idea that it is their design, their unique approach to designing an interesting in-ear.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see in the pictures, but basically the back looks like it's the casing that basically holds the magnet from a speaker. It resembles that, and then it's slightly angled like this. It has a really cool design, very industrial, I have to say. And I think it's some kind of alloy, right?
Yes, it should be. I do not have all this.
It feels like metal.
Oh, the M housing is metal actually. Yeah. I don't know what metal, but
it feels like an alloy. Yeah. Everything here is metal, including this little part is metal.
Yes.
Yeah. That's very, very nice.
Very thoughtful of them to give so much attention to detail. The cables, as Lauren loves cables, the cables are also amazing. They do not come with that little adapter that iBasso comes with, but it is a very amazing cable, very flexible, not springy. So
yeah, but it comes with almost 90-degree angle jack, which I also love because I can do this. Well, here, okay, and this sits in my pocket like this. This is great because it doesn't put any strain on this So yeah, I agree with companies that do this. Well, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's mine. So yeah, thumbs up for that.
They have a very detailed sound, slightly aggressive because it exposes detail with very good technical ability. The bass is a little on the warm side, I think. It's slightly warm, so you are getting a good amount of bass emphasizes if you enjoy a warmer sound.
Yeah.
So the Acoustune HS1650CU. Very, very interesting name. I think the name has as much detail as the sound has. It is a very detailed sound. So they are quite comfortable despite their very unique design. I love the comfort they have.
Yeah.
Amazing job from the guys at Acoustune. Very ergonomic shape despite what they look like. They have a little notch here that may be uncomfortable for those with smaller or certain
Well,
size
not for us. So
yes,
it was
yes.
fine for us.
Yes, quite fine. I think for long hours of listening. Good cables, detachable cables based on the MMSI-X connector. Good implementation of it. Not too tight, not too loose. Otherwise, they have a very detailed sound. On the more aggressive side, they have a sparkly treble. They have a good amount of sparkle, a warmer bass, but very, very, very fast bass. They have the type of sound that makes both death metal and pop music sound so well. So you can listen to Maroon 5 and right after that you can go to Cannibal Corpse to headbang while wearing them because they will sound amazing with both. I love both those bands. I don't know if you know, but I listen to Maroon 5 quite a bit. I
didn't even know that.
Oh, I like them.
Okay.
I like the voice and I like the guitar. I like the overall lyrics. I don't know. I find it quite enjoyable, especially after listening to Cannibal Corpse or Obscurcis Romancia or Dimmu Borgir.
Yeah, very, very enjoyable.
I have a very varied taste plate for my music listening.
I mean, we share some musical preferences, but not all. And obviously, I'm not into that. So, but he is.
Lorin also enjoys the EDM, electronic dance music.
Yeah.
I also enjoy that quite a bit, like Pendulum, Infected Mushroom. I love them. They do an amazing job of the detail of being so impressive. I love their work.
Excellent mastering.
Quite. I am so impressed with the mastering they do. And yeah, we both love EDM, so we have a very wide common ground because I listen to quite a bit of EDM. I also listen to those Japanese anime songs and they sound amazing with those because they have that detail. They have that more forward mid-range which complements female vocals quite well to me. Especially those sweet Japanese voices are complemented very well on those. Idol music like you find in Japan sounds quite amazing with those. They are an anime in here that would work very well with anime songs, with anime openings and endings. I enjoy that quite a lot. As you know, I love anime. I love a lot of things. Now, I hope you got a little better idea of how they sound. It is a specific tuning, to be honest. If you can, you should give them a try. I let Lorin speak a bit about
what's
them.
the price of these?
About $700 US.
Okay, so yeah, I remember now. When I listened to them, I had like 5 or 10 minutes listen with them, and then I said, okay, based on this, on the sound that I heard, they're probably €800. So I was very close. So I can estimate the price.
Yes, he was that close to their actual price. They perform a little above their actual price. Good job to the guys at Acoustune.
Yeah, so besides the build quality, which is absolutely amazing, well, it depends if you care about it, but I do. The sound is exactly like George is describing, at least that's how I see it as well. With just the bass goes a little bit into the beginning mid, which is enjoyable for the genres that he was mentioning. So that's a big plus for that. But also, yeah, the details of these are pretty incredible for that. Overall, I really like them. Not sure if I would pick them up for myself as I prefer the RE2000 better. Of course, the RE2000 is also a lot more expensive, but these are a very interesting piece of IEM, and I think it's going to find a home in a lot of for a lot of people because it's so enjoyable and a lot of detail for €700, right?
Yes, the way they describe music, the way they portray music, so detailed, so much detail is just I really love the way they describe music. Very, very, very detailed. And I don't know, I myself am a bit of a detail junkie sometimes, especially when I listen to aggressive music, and I like hearing like all those background instruments that you hear in black metal or in the death metal. Those genres usually are heavily compressed dynamically, and those do a very good job at presenting both the forward instruments and the backward layers. You are getting that wide soundstage. They do not sound very intimate, so you are getting a wide soundstage with them. You are getting explosive sound, punchy and quick sound. I think those who describe their sound best. I will be doing a full in-depth review at Audiophile Heaven, a written review, and
that's what I wanted to say also. Now keep in mind, we're not going to talk about them in great detail here in these videos because they're going to appear in either one of us in one of our reviews, either him or I am reviewing them, doesn't matter, but they're going to get a full review, so we're going to talk about all the details there. So yeah, that's something to know when you're looking at these videos. Okay, so these were the whatever name they have, right?
Acoustune HS1650CU.
Okay, at least I remembered it. We don't know what country they're made in, but or at least where the company is based, but we're gonna find out and let you know, I guess, by the time of the review.
Now, we have two more pieces of technology we wanted to talk about, and the next in our list
Shall I bring it up?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, so these are mine. These are not for. We're not gonna talk about them, but they're for, you know, props and stuff. But we're gonna talk about this. So
this is the Mytek Brooklyn DAC Plus, a very, very fine piece of technology. A DAC amplifier, works with headphones. It has a lot of functions. It has a lot it can do. It is an expensive piece of technology, about $2,000 US, so very expensive piece of technology. A lot of inputs, outputs. It is amazing what the guys at Mytek did with this. It has an OLED display on the front. I wish we could turn it on so you could see the display. I think I'm trying to present it like this.
all right.
If it sits. Now, it is a very neutral piece of technology. It has an amazing neutral sound. It is a DAC, so it is supposed to be fairly neutral. It is not supposed to be colored, because a very colored DAC...
Well, it depends on what you prefer, but yeah, usually you want in a DAC to be neutral and very detailed to bring out the details.
Yes. Yeah. That is the role of the DAC. The DAC is the one which does the decoding from the digital signal to the analog signal, and you want that to be as precise and as clear as possible. And this bad boy does that very well. Very clear, very precise, very fast sound, so it doesn't slow your music, especially if you are feeding an external amplifier. It works amazingly well if you are going to use it in a complex speaker setup, so you are going to be feeding it into a set of speakers. That way you get an amazing sound out of this with an external amplifier. It also has a headphone amplifier here, 2 ports. I think I need more time to understand exactly what each of those ports do, because there are 2. I know they are not exactly the same. I know that they have something about the phase being different about them. I need to check out the technical
that means that you haven't done the review for this, right?
No. The review isn't live
upcoming.
yet. Yes,
okay.
It's an upcoming review. I presented it in many videos, and I will do a video about it, but that is just the first impressions and presentation video, I do very in-depth articles about every single piece of technology I review, and this will also receive that. I will be listening in detail to it. I just received it. It is very new to me, so I need a bit more time to listen to it, but the initial impressions are extremely positive. Very wide soundstage, very neutral sound, so you are not getting coloration out of it. You are getting that clear sound, that very neutral, pairs well with any kind of amplifier. To be honest, you do not need a very specific amplifier. You can output it to any amplifier. The line signal is just sweet for any amplifier you can pair it with. It has a lot of things in here like phono. It can also connect to a battery to stabilize its internal power, because otherwise it has a switching power supply, and connecting it to a linear power supply will provide better sound. It has a USB input, an coaxial or optical input, and a lot of other inputs.
There's actually two coaxial inputs, I see. Oh no, one in and one out. Interesting.
Yes, very interesting piece of technology. I mean, yeah, this can be your main deck, and for a good time, for a good amount of time, because it is so damn amazing. I love the way they implemented the display. I love everything about it. As a headphone amplifier, it has a bit of hiss with most headphones and in-ears, because it has a lot of power. So if you are sensitive to hiss, you should consider purchasing one of those HiFi EMH thingies, adapters, which will eliminate hiss. Otherwise, you are getting a great experience out of this, out of the box. Not a lot of configuration necessary, just having this bad boy.
So can you tell us what's the use of the screen? What can you do with the screen?
The screen is there to let you adjust the settings. It has this knob for adjusting volume, but it also comes with an Apple remote. I love that. It's one of those metallic Apple remotes.
Yeah.
Very, very small.
I think I have one. Very old, like years old, when they first made the Apple TVs, right?
Yes, but they are lovely. I mean, it's a fully metallic object that can control it.
Because it has that directional, like a round directional pad and something like that, and you use it to navigate the menu, right?
I think the newer ones do not have a direction. It's just it is round, but it does not turn.
No. I know they're not turned, but it just looks like a.
Yes. That one.
Yeah. Okay.
Quite cool. It is just very, very sweet to use. The amount of details is incredible. I think I need to be doing more tests, but from my preliminary experience, it is amazingly detailed.
Does it have EQ? Is that what I saw at some point on the screen?
No, that was not EQ. That was it monitors the volume levels on each channel, so you know if you are going into clipping. It presents you that.
It shows you the fact that it's clipping.
Yes. Oh, if the signal is too loud, if it is digitally clipping, you know that because it shows how loud it is going. It also has a lot of settings, which I need to present in depth. There are just a lot of settings. It also has this interesting thing. It has lower preamp, so you are getting lower volume on the pre. So if it is too loud or if it distorts, you can set that so that when you turn it to maximum, it will not distort. Interesting fail-safe.
Yeah, so what I use right now, for example, to know if a song is clipping because it's poorly mastered or something like that, is that I use Roon, the software for my music library, and that tells me when it's actually clipping, and I know I had to lower the headroom. That's fine as long as you're using Roon. But if you're not using Roon, and then you have, I don't know, something else that doesn't tell you that, or a CD player or whatever, you don't know if it's clipping, and this will actually help because this will tell you that it's clipping and you know you have to lower the headroom. And I think I saw some options about that there, right?
Yes. And it also has a lot of other options. Very interesting piece of device.
But we're probably going to see all those options in the review, right?
Yes, quite. There is no sense we talk. You should keep in mind that full review, in-depth review is coming, and it is very detailed. If you are considering one, it has an amazing amount of details, a huge soundstage. Everything high quality DACAM should have. especially duck. The duck is the best part of it, as
Yeah, so
even the name is Brooklyn Duck Plus.
We A/B this with the Nu Prime stack that I have there, which is comprised of the Nu Prime HPA9 and the Nu Prime DAC 9, and the difference was really obvious. This is neutral. Those have EQ applied in the sense that they're more warm in the bass and also a lot brighter than this. This is a neutral DAC compared to almost any DAC that we compare to against. So yeah, if you want neutral, this is it.
Very, very amazing piece of technology, and we should go to our final surprise.
So yeah, I'm gonna tell you a little bit of story before we do that. Okay, so the last item on our agenda is actually, well, let's say it was a surprise for me also. The reason for it being a surprise is because I wasn't expecting it to be so good. I mean, I knew based on some other reviews that I read, you know, sparsely like that, that it's probably going to be good, but not like this. And what I mean by that is that in the first 4 hours of listening to it, I decided to sell all my headphones because I needed to fund this purchase. So that's what I did. As you might know, my regular headphones, or the pair that I use because they complement each other so good, is the HD800 from Sennheiser and the Odyssey LCD2, which I have right here. This still needs to be sold to finally complete the purchase. But yeah, it was so good and so different from what I've heard so far that I wanted to buy them right then. So this is it. This is actually a reviewing unit from Meze, and this is the Empyrean model they have, which they recently started selling. They wanted me to do a review, which I am gonna do, but I told them I'm not giving it back, so I don't want to give it back because it is so damn good. Don't think that this is the perfect headphone. No, it's not, but it's so close. And I'm going to explain why, and George is also going to give his impressions. But first, let's do some sort of unboxing, so at least you see the presentation, because I think it's really good. It comes in this metal box, which looks very, very fancy. So I'm going to open it up for you. So you see it here presented in this foam casing, let's say. It comes with spare pads. Usually it comes with, actually I'm going to sit like this. Usually it comes with these pads installed, but I'm not using them. I'm using the micro suede fiber, whatever it is called. I chose the longer cable because they asked me what kind of cable I wanted, and I wanted a long cable, the 3-meter cable, which I'm going to talk about a bit. And then inside you also get some literature, a thank you card, and so on, whatever. But what we're interested in is the headphones themselves. Can you keep this a little bit? I'm going to take out the cable also because I want to talk about it. So I'm going to close this. All right. So, okay, you take it out of the box. The first thing that you see is actually the build quality, which is absolutely amazing. The attention to detail is at a new level. I haven't seen such a well-designed headphone and everything. If you look at it, look at this side. You see here, I don't know if you can see it. This doesn't touch the headphone. It has this support here, and then it goes up, and this is where you adjust the height to adjust for different heads. And this is something which I really love. Detachable, what do you call these?
Ear pads.
Ear pads, yeah. So detachable ear pads. And they're magnetic. They're easy to put on and take off, which I really like. I think I saw this only on the, what's it called now? The Monoprice, I think they had a pair of these. Other than that, I haven't seen much.
I actually have one.
Yeah, you do?
The Master and Dynamic MW60 has those magnetic ear pads. The advantage is that they are very easy to replace, no hassle. The disadvantage, because I should be presenting a disadvantage as well, is that you need to purchase the replacement earpads directly from the original company. So basically, the earpads are not upgradable, not at all. You need to use them directly.
Unless a third party obviously makes them, but that's probably not going to happen.
You are betting your luck.
Yeah. So, okay, so the build quality is pretty amazing. You're going to see in my review, which is coming probably next week, you're going to see a lot of B-roll or close-up shots with these headphones, because you have to see how beautiful they are. But not only that, they sound pretty darn amazing. Of course, it's very expensive. It's 3,000 euros here in Europe, $3,000 in the United States. It's not a cheap headphone. It's not for everybody. But to put it in perspective, think about it. The HD800 is the detail king, at least for that price, okay? Because if we go up something like the LCD4, 4Z, the D8000 or MX4 or whatever, yeah, those also have a ton of details, but they're also 4,000 euros. So, you know, obviously those that we mentioned in many ways are better than the 800, but we're going to limit ourselves to the HD800. If something can basically equal or better the HD800 in detail, but also have the other things that the HD800 are missing, in my book, it's a winner. And this is what this is. This has a bass that it's so good. It's obviously, I forgot to tell you, this has a planar magnetic driver. So you're going to expect a pretty powerful and impactful bass. And that's what it delivers. It delivers that bass and that mid-range so well. And when you add the details that this has, which I think they're better than the HD800, because when I was listening to this, I've heard details that I've never heard in my songs that I listen to, and I couldn't hear them with the HD800. And the LCD2, when I noticed those details and I was comparing them directly with the LCD2, I wanted to throw the LCD2 against the wall, because I simply could not believe that I was not hearing those details with the LCD2 Classic, obviously. So that got me really upset and fired up, and I said, this cannot be possible. I need to have these because I'm missing so much from my music. So yeah, I decided to buy them.
Basically, Lorin is purchasing his review pair, so I will be requiring a different pair from Meze. I hope this will not take them too long to deliver a review pair to me, because Lorin is absolutely in love with his, as you can see here.
Yeah, so I was supposed to review this and then pass them to George for review. I might still do that, but we'll see how this thing works. But yeah, I simply love them. When I listen to these, I don't want to take them off. If I start at 8 in the morning and I finish at 12 in the night, I don't want to take them off. They're so good. And they're good because they're musical. In my definition, they are musical. And what I mean by that, they're not very, they're very slightly U-shaped, meaning that they do have an emphasis on the bass, but just slightly, like 2 dB. I'm going to show a frequency response graph in the full review, and also 2-3 dBs in the highs, which is, in my book, perfect. It's the perfect starting point to enjoy music. And then if you want to EQ them, then the planar magnetic driver that is in this has such low distortion that you can EQ them way past beyond the LCD2. For example, I was able to EQ these 8 dBs in the bass, besides those 2 that it already has. I cannot do that past 7 weekdays. And it's still distortion free, and that's pretty darn amazing. Of course, I don't listen at 8 plus dB on the bass. The maximum that I EQ'd them was like 2, which is very okay with me. But yeah, I'm very thrilled with them. I think they're my new favorite pair of headphones. Obviously, the competitors like the LCD4 or 4Z or
MX4.
yeah, and the D8000. Obviously, those are better in some aspects, but they're also €1,000 more expensive. And if you're looking for, something that basically is the best, then you're not going to look probably for those. But these, in sound signature and details, they do sound very like the LCD4 or 4Z. They sound like that, which, it's something good, because when I listened with the LCD4 the first time that I did that, but the 4Z, not the 4, I said that these were like, the perfectly tuned headphones. That's what I said. And I said, if they sell these for, €1,500 or something like that, or dollars, they're gonna basically destroy the market with that, because they're so good. And these fall into the same category. These are like that. Obviously, I don't have the LCD4Z to make a direct comparison right now, but if I do, I will do it, and I will let you know which one is better. I have a tendency to think that the LCD4Z is better, but still, these are so musical. It creates an emotional experience, at least for me. It created an emotional experience, and that's why it convinced me, because I had that emotional experience with them, with the music that these reproduce. Yeah, so you probably can tell that I am very excited about them. So today was your first chance to listen to them. You might be more critical than me with them, but go ahead, give it a shot.
Quite. So I have a larger list of headphones, especially in this higher price range. Now, my take is slightly different from Loren's. I think they are amazing. I still think they are quite impressive from my very short listening. I think they would use more like 4 or 5 dBs of bass, especially in the sub bass, where, as Loren said, they take so much EQ without distorting. It is amazing. Now, taking much more EQ is better. Always go for something that remains distortion free with EQ, because you will be able to tailor it to your tastes. They are built very well. I think Meze did a great job. I would need to place them through my personal tests to be sure, but so far I am quite impressed with their build quality. As Loren has said, they are planar magnetic drivers. Meze calls this the isodynamic driver.
The reason it's called isodynamic driver is because it has these patterns on the driver, but these are not usually they're in spiral like that, but these are not. These are specifically designed for this driver to emphasize some frequencies and stuff like that.
Now, the thing I'm most curious is not especially how amazing they are alone, because alone they are quite amazing, and I also have a very positive impression. But I'm quite curious how they compare to similarly priced headphones. I have the LCD MX4. I will be very soon receiving a very interesting pair of headphones from Kennerton, the Kennerton Thrower, if I'm not mistaken. I also have...
Those are planar magnetic, right?
I am not quite sure. I think so.
As far as I know, they are, yeah.
And I have more similarly priced headphones coming for review, so that is the thing I'm most curious about, how those will stand their ground against similarly priced headphones, because standalone they are quite amazing. I mean, like Loren has said, they are so impressive. Huge soundstage, so like the HD800 had, very huge
close,
soundstage.
but it doesn't beat the HD800 in my opinion. The HD800 still remains the king of soundstage.
Yes, the HD800 is a bit wider, but those come pretty close. The overall speed of those is actually impressive, very quick, so they do keep up with black metal and such, even with Obscurcis Romancia, which is very aggressive. I like the jacks, the mini XLR jacks on here. You can use Audeze third-party cables for them, which is impressive. Now, I think those are priced well for their build quality and sound. They are priced at 3,000 euros. Very expensive pair of headphones. Every single flagship I will be reviewing, I will keep saying this, those are very expensive. The LCD MX4 I have reviewed are made more for the professional worker in the audio industry, and I appreciate that. They provide a more forward sound than those do. I can tell you a very few things from my limited listening experience. I need much more time with those and to compare them. But so far the LCD MX4 had a more forward mid-range, more forward overall sound with I'd say better overall revealing abilities, but those come as more organic and more natural because those are made for listening and the other ones are made for being
for mastering.
Yes,
basically.
for mastering. That is the point of LCD MX4, and they are quite amazing for that. The details on those are quite amazing. I can hear what Lorin is talking about when they present details that the HD800 wouldn't. Now the LCD2C, the one Lorin used to use, is considerably less expensive than those.
Yeah, these come at around 800 or 900 euros, something like that.
So I think it was expected for those to beat those. If they wouldn't, I would have been quite disappointed, but I'm impressed because they do. It's natural they do. I'm not necessarily impressed. It's very natural that they do beat them. Now, what I am very curious is how they will stand their ground once I have a chance to give my in-depth listening, how they stand their ground to Audese's offerings, to LCD Z4Z, to LCD MX4, to Kenerton's flagships. I mean, comparing those will be quite thrilling and quite exciting because I love the work Meze has done, especially since they are Romanian and I'm also from Romania with the accent. We both are from Romania.
It makes me even prouder to own them because of that. But.
Yes, I want to see Romanians do great things, and I will be posting a full review of those as well as Lorin. But I will try to be very neutral to the fact that Meze is Romanian because I want them to win on their own right and not necessarily just because they are Romanian. I want them to be that good. This is what I want them to be. I want them to be that good that I can say that about them. At this moment I have a very short listening, so I'm not able to say how they compare because I need way more time. It would be very careless of me to say that. But so far they're amazing. I love their sound. I love their detail. I love their comfort. Very comfortable.
Yeah.
They have this shape when they're on their head. It might look a bit funky.
Yeah, it looks funky a little bit. But the comfort from what I can tell you, at least comparing to the headphones that I owned, is that it's between the HD800 and the LCD2. Somewhere in between. So it's not as comfortable as the HD800, which I personally think is almost the king of comfort, I would say.
They're quite comfortable. They are not made for headbanging though, so do not
No. No.
Most 3,000 euro US dollars headphones are not made for headbanging, so... But yeah, they look a bit funky, but the way they sit on the head is quite good. I am quite impressed with them so far. I just hope I will be quite as impressed when placing them against similarly priced headphones. Now, we pretty much reached the end of our little list.
Yeah, but first I still want to talk about the cable. So we're pretty much done with the sound impressions and the build quality and stuff. As I was saying, it's not the perfect headphone. And one of the reasons it's not the perfect headphone is because of this cable. I think this is a subpar cable in my opinion, and I think for 3,000 euros you should get a better cable. The problem with this cable is that it's actually stiff. You know, you can't bend it all the way, and when you use the whole length of it, it kind of does this thing, you know, so that's a bit annoying. But since they're using the mini XLR plugs, you can obviously get replacement cables, which is good because you can find these everywhere because a lot of people are making these kinds of cables. ranging, I don't know, from $30 to whatever, hundreds, depending on the quality. So I will definitely be replacing this with something else. Not sure if I'm gonna keep the length also, probably a little bit shorter. But I was offered this option or the shorter one, which is I think 1.5 meters long or whatever. That was a bit too short for me, and it has the 3.5 millimeter plug, which I don't use because I have, you know, headphones that don't have that kind of port, and I don't want to use it anyway. But yeah, I really like them. You're gonna see a full review probably next week, if not, you know, in the upcoming 2 weeks or whatever. I think that's about it with these headphones also.
About the cable, I would personally recommend getting an upgrade cable with 4.4 balanced connection. Don't mind it.
That's the cable.
Because 4.4 balanced connectors would allow you to use those cables with some portables that would have the power to drive them. And that is the beauty, I think, of Meze Empyreans, because having this quality and having it portable for something like the iBasso DX200 with one of the stronger modules for amplifying, that would be quite amazing. I mean, imagine having this portable, just like Audeze did with the LCD4Z series. Though I don't think Audeze meant for us to use LCD4 series portably. I mean, I just think they meant us to power them easily.
Well, in all honesty, they are easy to power. So
yes, so if they're easy to power, I will be using those portably. I mean, if I will be able to drive those portably, I will be using even the Empyrean portably. You can expect me to. I am the kind of person who uses interesting headphones portably.
Yeah,
why
so I forgot to mention, since you mentioned it, the drivability of these and how it matches with different amps and decks and so on. You cannot, they are rated at, if I'm remembering this correctly, 60 ohms, but I'm not sure. I will have to look that up, let you know in the full review. But even so, they still require a lot of power to actually get that amazing bass that these drivers can provide. So you're not going to power them with something very weak. Obviously, you're going to need a powerful amp, like I'm using there with the Nupram HPA9, which has a lot of power. Yeah, I can get everything out of this driver with that kind of power. But if you power them with something less powerful, you're not going to get it. You're not going to feel the bass, actually. It's that different. And also, I have to say that they are very sensible to the source. I wasn't expecting this from a planar magnetic driver, but yeah, it matters what source you have. So it depends on the amp and the DAC, and every combination like that is going to give you slightly different results. So that's an important thing to know about this. I'm not sure how the other competitors of this handle this situation, but yeah. Okay. So I think we're done finally with the Meze Empyrean. I think we talked like 20 minutes or something about it. Well, not that it doesn't deserve it, it does, but okay. Okay, so this was our first. This was the first episode of our new podcast. I hope you liked it. Leave some comments below what you like or what you didn't like or whatever, and we'll
hope to see you soon.
Hope to see you soon. Yeah. Okay. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.